Good evening. This is Karen Dixon. I'm the chairman of the Finance Committee. I'm calling to order this meeting of July 23rd. Let's start to my left and we will do a roll call.
Mark Bergdorf, Alderman, Ward 1.
Jesse Ecknoff, Chief of Operations.
Mayor Jamie Clary.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Terry Goodwin, Alderman, Ward 4.
Tamara Ingersoll, Finance Director.
Do you want to announce yourself?
Sure. Frank Benson.
All right, and I'm Jeff Sassy, Alderman Ward 3, and I move that we accept the agenda.
Oh, great. Thank you for the motion. I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. That's
Moving us
passed.
around.
So we have 3 sets of minutes that we need to approve tonight. So from April 23rd, we have the meeting minutes, and I will need to abstain from that. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I move to approve.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain, that passed. From May 13th, we had the special call meeting minutes, and Jeff, you will need to abstain from that. So,
I will be abstaining from that one.
okay, great. So I'll make a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
There we go. Those are approved. And from May 28th, Mark, you will need to abstain from that because you
I
were not here.
abstain.
Great. So can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second, and so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye. So we have all the minutes in the past. Any public comments? This is your time if you are a member of the public to speak.
Nobody signed up.
No,
Okay,
it's not.
that sounds great. So we'll move on to ordinance and resolutions. So we have the reading of ordinance 2024-13. It's an ordinance fixing the rate of real and personal property taxation in the city of Hendersonville for Sumner County, Tennessee. So I will ask Tamara to walk us through this.
I appreciate that.
Oh, I'm so
My comment is going to be, I will sound smarter if Tamara speaks for me.
So every 5 years, the city's required to do a reappraisal. The 2024 tax year happened to be the year where a reappraisal had to be done. That's basically resetting the tax rate to keep the city revenue neutral as the property values are appraised at a higher level. So prior, our property tax rate for the last 5 years has been at 0.9187. And the proposed tax rate is the new certified tax rate of 0.5883.
Yes.
So that tax rate will keep the city revenue neutral compared to the 23 tax year,
Right.
which was last fiscal year. And that is how we budgeted. So the amount that's in our budget, this new tax rate is sufficient to cover that.
Good.
It is important to note that most residents are going to see very minor adjustments on their tax bill. It doesn't keep each individual person tax neutral. It keeps the city as a whole revenue neutral. So, examples I put in the staff report, one of the properties had an increase of $9, one had a decrease of $6.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be minor adjustments for most folks, but for the most part, it should be.
And it looked like
very
all
minor.
that was due to the appraised value
Absolutely.
and the rate of increase per appraised value.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Are you going to walk us through this calculation, how they determine that rate?
I can do that. So looking at the prior year, and line item number 2 is really the meat of it. That's the appraised value. So the prior year compared to the current year, the appraised value went from 2.2 billion to 3.6 billion for the property tax values. They do reduce out of that the new properties. So properties that came on the roll new for the 24 tax year, they were not there for the 23 tax year. So we have to remove them off. So we're comparing apples to apples when they're calculating out the new rate. And then same thing, that's real property. They add in the personal property and then come up with the total base assessed value, which went from 2.3 billion to 3.6 billion. And then basically they apply looking at the prior year, the total revenue generated was $21.7 million of property tax revenue. They calculate out based on that new base assessment value, what rate would need to be applied to come up with that same dollar amount of tax revenue, which is how that rate of the 0.5883 is calculated. So they basically back into it looking at that new values and what rate needs to be applied to keep the revenue the same as it was in the prior year.
So the 0.5883 is multiplied by the 3.690 billion
Yes.
to equal the 21,713,000.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
And
Makes sense.
we wait an awful long time for this calculation. It
Yeah, we
seems
did.
simple, but I guess that we're waiting for all of the property values to be adjusted correctly and people who are.
Yeah. So once I believe all of the new appraisals, the new assessments come out in May, and then folks have a little while to submit appeals, and then middle of June, I believe, is the deadline for the appeals, and then they have to go through that appeal process and finalize those before they issue the new rate. So that's why we get it later than, a little bit later than we wish we had it, but everything is accurate that way.
This was a very appraisal heavy year as far as assessments go. So
Yeah.
rates or the values increased dramatically.
Yeah, the last 5 years have had a lot of
Mhm.
them.
Yeah, I think they changed how they're evaluating the value as well, didn't they?
I don't know.
I don't know that.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Any more questions?
I have just a general question. I'd just like to know, does anyone remember when the last tax increase, the city tax increase occurred, not associated with county tax increase? I think 2019, they had a county tax increase.
It came when the board decided to eliminate the trash fund. And they actually added a little bit more there. I'm gonna say just before.
It was 5 years ago. It was
to
coincided with the
Oh,
last
that's right, that's right.
reappraisal.
All right, great.
So we've been stationary on our tax rates for the citizens for 5 years.
Yes.
And we've been able to provide a lot of services
Yeah.
to the citizens here.
I
I'm very
hope that
glad to hear that.
continues.
Yeah, and this-
Absolutely.
Yeah, this will actually be the 6th year of essentially the same level of property taxes.
Okay.
Looking at it now, you all should be, Jamie and Jesse, you all should be very proud to have the lowest proposed tax rate in Sumner County at this
Oh,
point.
nice. Appreciate knowing that.
So that was off Forward Sumner
Okay.
website.
Oh, cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion?
Motion to move this to BOMA with a positive recommendation.
Great.
Second the motion.
That's all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes. Now we can move on to other agenda items. So we have no more ordinances to discuss. And we'll look at sales tax, hotel motel tax, investment earnings, and stormwater. We'll ask Tamara to step us through it.
All right, so the first item you have in your packet is the local option sales tax analysis. We are still pending the June revenues. We should be receiving those the end of this week, maybe early next week. I have seen preliminary numbers. They're not finalized yet. There's still one piece that's not in there. But we are looking to still come out about $500,000 above what our budgeted amount was on that.
Great.
So those taxes came in just like we anticipated.
That's great. Thank you.
And then the state share sales tax, this is a final number. Revenues continued to be steady through the last part of the fiscal year, and we ended the year about $300,000 over what was budgeted.
Great.
The hotel motel report on here, the June revenues are not final. That's only 2 of our hotels that make up that $20,000 that was received in June. The revenues are due this week, so the other hotels are still outstanding.
Mhm.
I could email out an updated report once I have those final revenues.
Okay.
I'm going to assume that the revenues are going to be very similar to what they were last year, maybe right around what they came in at last year. And then related to hotel motel, we did get word that the hotel that was damaged in the tornado should be renting out rooms again right about now. So we should start to see a little bit of revenues for.
And that's the only one that's offline, then,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah. good.
Yeah, and so they're going to be coming back online. They told us towards middle to the latter part of July. So we should start seeing those
Perfect.
revenues creep back up a little bit. Investment earnings continue to come in strong.
Mhm.
We've had budgeted 1.5 million. We had earnings of just over 1.6 million, which is a very easy way. I mean, it's super positive here to see
Mhm.
that revenue, putting our money to work and earning that.
Totally agree.
And we'll just hope it continues.
That's what I was
Yeah.
going to ask. What do you feel the forecast is on this? And do you have any feelings on that?
Jess and I had that conversation.
Did you?
Yeah.
Any conclusions on that?
Well, if the Fed cuts rates, it's good for the economy. So
Either way. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
it's good
There's
either way,
a silver
right?
lining.
It's good
There's
either
a
way.
silver lining.
There's a
That's
silver
good.
lining
Okay,
there.
good.
Yep.
Yep, that's
Agree.
true.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so did we pull money out of Pinnacle? A significant amount from Pinnacle, because the rate is the same, but the investment earnings were reduced by about 7,000.
Absolutely. So we have in June, our spending actually goes up as we get to the end of the fiscal year. We have to get all the invoices paid. So there was more money going out in June. So some of the funds that were in Pinnacle were used for
That
expenditures.
makes sense.
Okay.
And that's pretty typical. Generally speaking, you end up with more money going out the door in June and then a little bit in July as well.
Okay.
Storm water fund, again, this fund, there may be one or two small expenditures that aren't posted on here yet. We're still wrapping up the FY fiscal year 24 expenditures. The revenues should be done and should be complete, but there are still a few outstanding invoices, I believe, that haven't been paid yet. It's not going to have any big impact. Anything large is going to be under one of those encumbrances, which would just shift the usage of those funds from the encumbrance to the expense. But came in, pretty much where we anticipated,
Right.
coming in.
Looks good. Anybody have any questions? Do we have any other business? Anyone want to give me a motion to adjourn?
I offer a motion to adjourn meeting.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.